UFC Fight Night, Makhachev versus Moisés. 12 fights on the entire fight card. Islam Makhachev and Thiago Moisés in the main event. Marion Renaud and Misha Tate in the co-main event. Rodolfo Vieira and Dustin Stoltzfus in the middleweight division right there. Matheus Gamrot and Jeremy Stevens in the lightweight division. Khalid Taha and Sergey Morozov in the bantamweight division. Francisco Figuero, Davison Figueroa's brother, against Malcolm Gordon in the flyweight division. Anderson Dos Santos and Miles Johns in the bantamweight division. Amanda Lamos and Montserrat Ruiz in the women's strawweight division. Phil Halls and Deron Wynn in the middleweight division. Rodrigo Nascimento and Alan Badat in the heavyweight division. That one's going to be a finish 100%. We got Dana Rodriguez and Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov. I believe Khabib's cousin or second cousin, something like that. He's related to Khabib right there in the welterweight division against a really good fighter in Daniel Rodriguez. And then we got Billy Corinthio and Gabriel Benitez right there in the featherweight division. Really solid fight card. I believe one of the prelim fights, probably going to be D-Rod and Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov, will be moved to the main card probably in the next couple of days or in the next week or something like that, because there's only 4 fights on the main card right now. But overall, really good fight card for UFC Fight Night, Makhachev versus Moisés. Really solid main event right here. But yeah, 12 fights on the entire fight card. So let's get in to the first fight on the fight card right here. This fight is in the featherweight division right here. Billy Corinthio and Gabriel Benitez in the featherweight division. Billy Corinthio, 15 wins and 3 losses. The 45th best featherweight fighter in the world. 32 and a half years old. A little bit taller, but a little bit less in the reach department right there. Gabriel Benitez, a lot of experience with 22 wins and 8 losses. He's a little bit older, but not too much older to give Billy Corinthio any sort of age advantage. He's going to be a little bit smaller, but a little bit of a reach advantage right there. Gabriel Benitez is a kickboxing type of fighter. Billy Corinthio is mainly a striker. He likes to mix in a little bit of wrestling here and there. But for this fight right here, Gabriel Benitez and Billy Corinthio, I really don't suspect any wrestling or grappling from either fighter, to be honest. I think it's just going to be a fight that goes all the way, goes to the decision. It's probably going to be a 29-28 decision win for one of these two guys in the striking game. It's going to be a close one. Could go either way. The betting odds for the fight are very interesting. If you look right here, let's see if I can find it. I might be a little bit blind. There it is, minus 210 for Gabriel Benitez, and then plus 190 for Billy Corinthio. Seems like a little bit much. They started off the betting odds with Billy Corinthio as the favorite. Do I think Billy should have been the favorite? No, I do not. But do I think he should be a plus 190 underdog? I definitely do not. Personally, if I were to put the odds together, I would have Gabriel Benitez as a minus 145 favorite and Billy Corinthio as a plus 115, plus 120 type of underdog right there. I think it's a pretty close fight, but I probably favor Gabriel Benitez just a little bit. So if you're going to be betting on the fight, it's probably just one of those where you do underdog or pass, because if you're betting on the favorite, 2-1 favor on Gabriel Benitez to Billy Corinthio, that's way too much. But the underdog value of plus 190 or maybe even plus 180, those are very solid odds for a guy like Billy Corinthio, when the odds should be around plus 140 right there. But I think it's going to be a close one. Billy Corinthio throws a lot of volume. If we can look up his UFC stats right here, he throws a lot of volume inside the UFC, and I'm talking like 5-6 strikes per minute inside the UFC. I'm completely mistaken right here. 7.03 strikes every single minute. But his striking defense isn't really the best right there. He does average 1.23 takedowns per minute right there. But if you look at his opponent in Gabriel Benitez, he has amazing striking defense. It's insane. His striking defense is what I think is going to get him the win, because we know Billy Corinthio goes out there in the first and second round, throws a lot of volume, gets a lot of pressure, but he gets really tired for the second and third round. So he's going to be throwing a lot of volume, but with Gabriel Benitez just having really good striking defense of 70% right there, I think he's going to defend a lot of the strikes from Billy Corinthio. And that's going to get Billy Corinthio really tired for the second and third round. And as we saw in the last fight with Gavin Tucker, he got very tired later on in the fight. because he was throwing so much punches earlier on in the fight. So I think he's going to get really, really tired, and in the later rounds, Gabriel Benitez will pick him apart from the outside, and he's just going to be way too tired to land anything significant. So I think the first round will go to Billy Corinthio with the volume and with that pressure, but with that cardio, I think he's going to start to fade in the second and third round. That's where Gabriel Benitez will come back in the fight, and I think he'll win the second and third round. So my prediction right here is going to be a Gabriel Benitez 29-28 decision. It could go either way. It's a very, very close fight. I don't think Gabriel should be a 2-1 favorite at all. It's a much, much closer fight than that, but underdog or pass in my opinion. And if you're going to pick either fighter, personally, I would probably do a decision bet on one of those two, especially if you got Gabriel Benitez, because if you're betting on Gabriel Benitez just straight up, minus 210, there's not really much value there, so I'd probably go a decision for Gabriel Benitez. That'd probably be around minus 120, minus 130, or maybe even underdog odds, which I think would be very, very solid. Other than that, just do an underdog bet on Billy Corinthio right there, but should be a really, really good fight in the featherweight division right there. Daniel Rodriguez and Abubakar Nurmagomedov in the welterweight division. I'm going to say it right now, Daniel Rodriguez has amazing boxing with some decent jiu-jitsu as well, and personally, I do think he's an undefeated fighter. You see it right here, 14 wins and 2 losses. Lost to Nicolas Dalby by unanimous decision, but if you look at that fight, he landed around double the amount of strikes than Nicolas Dalby did in that fight. It was just absolutely insane right there. Let's see if I can find it right here. So he landed 105 strikes. So I believe like 58 different strikes on Nicolas Dalby. I don't know how he did not win that fight. Look right here, 105 to 58, and then 86 significant strikes to 50 every single round. He had double in the first round, double in the second round, and like 1.5 times in the third round right there. So every single round, he had more strikes and more significant strikes, and still lost the decision. I really have no idea what was happening with the judges right there. And his other loss as well, I don't think he lost. It was a split decision with Victor Reina. I think he won that fight 29-28 on the judges' scorecard. So personally, I do think he's an undefeated fighter. And if you look right here, 7 knockouts, 4 submissions, and in my opinion, 5 decisions. So I think he is an undefeated fighter. Very, very good boxing. Some pretty good jiu-jitsu as well. I do think this fight is going to be staying on the feet. Both guys mainly look to go out there and strike with their opponents and look for the decision win. Abubakar Nurmagomedov, 6 knockouts, 4 submissions, and 6 decision wins right there. They both have very, very solid striking. But right here, he's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage, and he's going to have a 2-inch height advantage. Not really much of an age advantage, because Daniel Rodriguez, even 34, even if he's like 36 years old, he's still going to look really, really good, because his boxing is just so crisp, so fast, and so technical. Daniel Rodriguez, his boxing is just really, really good. But right here, it's just who is the better striker, and I'm going to have to go with Daniel Rodriguez, because he's just a better striker. He's shown in his last fight with Mike Perry an absolute clinic in that fight. You look at the significant strikes, had double significant strikes in the entire fight right there. Knocked down Dwight Grant 3 times, knocked down Tim Means, and then got the submission. His striking is just really, really good, and he has some pretty good wrestling as well. Do I think the wrestling or grappling will play a part here? No, I really do not. But Daniel Rodriguez, 8 strikes landed every single minute, and he still looks very, very fresh. He doesn't really look tired after landing 8 strikes per minute, which is just absolutely insane. I think that volume will be what gets him the win right here. I think the fight does go all the way. It's just who is the better striker, and I'm going to have to go Daniel Rodriguez right here. And then the betting odds for the fight are very, very interesting. So they're minus 115 for Daniel Rodriguez, and then plus 105 for Abubakar Nurmagomedov. I do think it's going to be a 29-28 decision win for Daniel Rodriguez. I think the odds right there for minus 115 are very, very solid. I think the odds are going to be spread out in the next couple of days. Probably having Daniel Rodriguez minus 145, minus 150, somewhere around that range. So right now would probably be the best place to put a bet on Daniel Rodriguez. I can't see the odds getting any narrower to have Daniel at minus 105, even a plus underdog. I really doubt that's going to happen. So I think minus 115 right there would be the best bet for betting on Daniel Rodriguez right there. But really, really good striker, amazing boxing, and some decent jiu-jitsu as well. So my prediction right here, Daniel Rodriguez winning 29-28, unanimous decision right there. Because Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov and keeping another win after the dominant victory on Mike Perry just 2 months ago. Should be a really, really good fight in the welterweight division right there. Rodrigo Nascimento and Alan Badat right here in the heavyweight division. The first thing we're going to look at is the betting odds, because whenever you have a heavyweight fight like this with Rodrigo Nascimento and Alan Badat, both guys who have zero fights going the distance in their professional MMA career, you can never be too sure betting on a heavyweight fight like this. So the betting odds for this fight right here are minus 300 for Rodrigo Nascimento and then plus 285 right there for Alan Badat. Now, of course, I'm going to go Rodrigo Nascimento to win the fight, but we did just watch the last fight with Rodrigo Nascimento and Chris Daukaus, where Rodrigo got knocked out in like 50 seconds of the very first round right there. I don't know about that chin. And in the fight, he did not go for the takedown. I don't know what he was thinking. He just did not go for the takedown, and that's why he got knocked out 45 seconds into the very first round. And then before that, his grappling and his submission game looked really, really good with 6 submissions and 2 ground and pound knockout wins right there. Alan Badat, very, very powerful striker. Of course, he's going to be in the heavyweight division, so of course you're going to have a little bit of power for being in the heavyweight division, but every single win being a knockout win or a DQ win, that probably would have been a knockout win either way, but 7 knockout wins right there, lots and lots of power, most of those knockouts being in the first or second round right there. It's a heavyweight fight. Anything can happen. Only one punch needs to land. That's why I'm definitely not betting on Ciryl Gane or Derrick Lewis. I'm not betting on that fight other than a small bet on Derrick Lewis by knockout, because it's the heavyweight division. Only one punch needs to land for the fight to be absolutely over. So this is one of the fights you could put Rodrigo Nascimento in there for a finish in the first or second round or something like that, but I wouldn't be too confident, especially because it's the heavyweight division. But of course, Rodrigo Nascimento has very, very good grappling, very, very good wrestling, and is probably going to go out there, get the fight down, get a couple of takedowns, and eventually get the submission or ground up on TKO. That's the most likely outcome, but you can never be too sure in the heavyweight division. So probably wouldn't bet on Rodrigo Nascimento, but I do have Rodrigo Nascimento going out there and getting the submission win. Like pretty much, oh wow, 92% are saying that he's going to win the fight by submission right there. That's probably what's going to happen. Every single win by finish. So I'm going to go Rodrigo Nascimento going out there, getting 1, maybe even 2 takedowns, getting the fight down, getting Alan Badat's back, landing a little bit of ground and pound, and latching in that rear naked or maybe an arm triangle choke submission right there. Should be a really, really good fight in the heavyweight division right there. Phil Hawes and Deron Winn in the middleweight division. We know both fighters are mainly going to be wrestlers, but you look at the height and the reach of Phil Hawes compared to Deron Winn, it's very clear who's going to win in the striking game right there. Phil Hawes with a 6-inch height advantage and a 7.5-inch reach advantage right there. Absolutely insane advantages in the height and reach department. But Deron Winn, the height and reach does not matter if he closes that distance and gets that single leg or double leg takedown on Phil Hawes. He is a really, really good wrestler. 7 wins and 2 losses. Every single win by ground and pound TKO or by decision in a dominant grappling and wrestling show right there. That's what Deron Winn does. He gets you down, grinds you out, and either finishes you on the ground or just grinds you to that decision. But Phil Hawes, we know he also has very, very good wrestling. Averages, I believe, 2 or 3 takedowns inside of the UFC. And his striking is so much better than a guy like Deron Winn right here, who we haven't even seen be able to strike because he's just immediately going for that takedown over and over and over again. But we do know right here, with a guy like Phil Hawes, he's going to go out there and he's probably going to dominate the fight on the feet with 7 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, and 2 decision wins. And with that wrestling background right here, he should probably be able to defend most of the takedowns from Deron Winn, keep the fight on the feet, use that height, and use that reach to overall win the fight in the striking game. Maybe getting knockout win before then, maybe just dominate the fight and get a decision right there. Personally, I'm going to go a decision win. Deron Winn has never been knocked out in his career, so I'm going to go Phil Hawes by a decision right here. I think he's going to dominate him in the striking game. There's going to be a lot of clinching from the round win, a buttload of takedown attempts from the round win. But Phil Hawes, he is very good wrestling as well. I think he'll defend those takedowns, those clinch situations as well. Keep the fight on the feet and overall win the fight by 30-27, 30-27, and 30-27 unanimous decision right there. And then we look at the betting odds right here. It's a pretty big favorite for Phil Hawes. Of course, if you're thinking logically on this fight, Phil Hawes should definitely win. But minus 260, it's a little bit iffy right there. So the betting odds did start out at minus 110, which was absolutely insane. I have no idea how the odds started at minus 110 right there. Personally, I think the odds are right where they should be, but you never know with a guy like Deron Wynn. He could go out there, get a takedown, and kind of implement like a Cookie Monster effect in the strawweight division. Carla Esparza goes out there, takedown, holds you a little bit and just grinds you out to the decision with a little bit of ground upon here and there. That's what Deron Wynn could do right here. It's definitely a possibility, but I'm going to go Phil Hawes. I'm not sure if I'll bet on Phil Hawes, just considering the grinding that Deron Wynn can potentially do in the fight. But my prediction overall is definitely going to be Phil Hawes going out there, keeping the fight on the feet, and winning the fight by 30-27 decision right there. It should be a really, really good fight in the middleweight division right there. Amanda Lamos and Monstera Ruiz in the women's strawweight division. Amanda Lamos, really, really good striking. The 4-inch height advantage and the 4-inch reach advantage. 9 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw right there. She's, of course, gonna have the advantage on the feet with 6 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, and 1 decision win right there. Very good power in her hands and her feet as well, and she is pretty good at wrestling as well. We know the strategy that Monstera Ruiz is gonna try and implement. Get you down and hold you with a headlock or something like that, and just keep you on the ground for 3 straight rounds for the decision. I encourage you, watch the last fight with Cheyenne Buys and Monstera Ruiz. That is what she does every single fight. But Amanda Lemos, I know she's going to be expecting that headlock for 3 straight rounds for Monstera Ruiz, so she's going to be able to defend that. After a lot of practice from 3 months ago when the fight was announced, she's going to have a lot of practice on just defending that headlock right there. So I think right here, Amanda Lemos is not going to get caught in a headlock for 3 straight rounds like Cheyenne Buys was, but instead will defend the takedowns and keep the fight on the feet. Because if you look right here, let's see if we can get Amanda Lemos. UFC fight stats right here. 2 takedowns per fight inside the UFC. 100% accuracy and 100% takedown defense with much, much better striking, of course, than Monstera Ruiz. So 100% takedown defense is probably what's going to get her the win right here. She'll use that to keep the fight on the feet. And, of course, she's going to have the better striking. So, of course, she's going to win the fight. I mean, Amanda Lemos, I don't think she should be as big of a favorite as she is. The betting odds are right now. Let's see if I can find it. Minus 450 for Amanda Lemos. I don't think she should be that big of a favorite, but I do think she is going to win the fight. Personally, I think the odds should be around minus 275, minus 280, around that range. I think this is a little bit too much in my opinion, but I do think she will win with the 100% takedown defense, some solid wrestling, and way, way better striking with the 4-inch height advantage and the 4-inch reach advantage, and a lot of knockouts on her record, a lot of power, a lot of speed, much, much better striking. So my prediction right here is going to be a decision win for Amanda Lemos. It's very possible she gets a knockout right here, but Monstera Ruiz, she's a tough woman right here. I don't think she's gonna get knocked out by Amanda Lemos. This fight will go all the way. My prediction: Amanda Lemos defending the takedowns, keeping the fight on the feet, and dominating every single round in the striking game for a 30-27 unanimous decision right here. Should be a really, really good fight in the women's strawweight division right there. Anderson Dos Santos and Miles Johnson in the bantamweight division. Miles Johnson, 11 wins and 1 loss. A little bit taller, but a little bit less in the reach department right there. He is going to have a very, very big age advantage right there, being 27 years old. But Anderson Dos Santos being 35, almost 36 years old. Yes, he's going to have the age disadvantage in terms of speed and explosiveness in the striking game. But look at all that experience. 21 wins and 8 losses right there. That is a lot of experience inside of the UFC and inside of the cage, whether it's some other promotion or anything like that. That's a lot of experience, but this man needs the fight to go to the ground. He has really, really solid submission skills. I believe 12 or 13 submissions on his record. 12 submission wins, 5 knockout wins, mainly by ground and pound, and then 4 decision wins right there. He needs this fight to hit the mat. Miles Johnson, Very, very solid wrestling, in my opinion. He's not really mainly a wrestler. He's not really mainly a striker. He's just an all-around MMA fighter. Let's see if we can check his UFC stats for his wrestling and grappling skills, because they're really, really solid. 1.21 takedowns average every single fight, and an 87% takedown defense. That's what I want to look at, because that is really, really solid takedown defense. He's going to have the striking advantage. If the fight does stay on the feet, Miles Jones should win the fight by a decision, or maybe another uppercut knockout win. That's another weapon he could use against a wrestler and grappler type of guy in Anderson Dos Santos. Going for the double leg or the single leg takedown, he's going to pop him with that uppercut many, many times in the fight. Could knock him out just like he did Kevin Natividad in his last fight right there. But I'm not really expecting a knockout. I think this fight will probably go all the way. Anderson is probably gonna go for like 10 takedowns. It's probably gonna be kind of like a fight with Damian Maia and Bilal Muhammad, with Anderson Dos Santos just going for takedown after takedown after takedown. But with the 87% takedown defense of Miles Jones, and with the uppercut to kind of make him think a little bit harder on if he should go for the takedown, because he could get knocked out from the uppercut, I don't see Anderson Dos Santos getting really any takedowns, getting the fight down and implementing his game plan, which would be to grapple and wrestle for 3 straight rounds for the decision, or maybe get a submission before then. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the fight will stay on the feet with the better wrestling, with a really good wrestling defense, and then the better striking of Miles Jones right there. So I think the fight does go all the way. Miles Jones is just the better striker. So I think the fight stays on the feet for 3 straight rounds. And Miles Jones wins every single round. 30-27, 30-27, and 30-27 on the judges' scorecards right there. I do like the betting odds. -170 for Miles Jones, and then +162 for Anderson Dos Santos right there. This is one of the fights, if you're going to be betting on Miles Jones, I'd probably do a decision bet. We don't have any props for Miles Jones just yet, but if you're going to be betting on this fight, it's either an Anderson Dos Santos submission, because if Anderson Dos Santos is going to win the fight, it'd probably be a submission. If the fight does go all the way, it's probably going to be a Miles Jones decision win right there. So if you're going to be betting on the underdog in Anderson Dos Santos, put him winning the fight by submission. If you're going to go Miles Jones, which is much, much more likely, I'd probably go him winning the fight by decision, which I assume is going to be underdog odds, +125, +130. Not too sure what it's going to be, but I assume it's going to be underdog odds right there. If it's underdog odds, I probably put a couple of dollars down, because I definitely do think Miles Jones should 100% win the fight by a decision right there. I don't see a knockout. I definitely don't see a submission for Miles Jones. So I think the fight goes all the way, and Miles Jones by decision on the prop bet would be a really, really good bet if there are underdog odds. So it should be a really, really good bet, and a really good fight in the bantamweight division right there. Miles Jones and Anderson Dos Santos right there. I got Miles Jones by a decision. Should be a really, really good fight in the bantamweight division right there. Francisco Figuero and Malcolm Gordon in the flyweight division. I'm going to say it right now. Malcolm Gordon's chin is absolutely horrible. 12 wins and 5 losses. Every single loss being a finish in the first or second round. First on triangle loss, first on knockout loss, first on knockout loss, second round knockout loss, and another second round knockout loss. The guy's chin is really, really bad in my opinion. I'm not saying Francisco Figueroa really has that good of power in his hands with only, I believe, 3 knockouts. Yeah, 3 knockouts on his career. But still, Malcolm Gordon's chin is really not good at all. Francisco Figueroa could probably beat him on the feet, and in my opinion, he's faster. He's a little bit more powerful. I don't think he's going to get the knockout, but he is a little bit more powerful than Malcolm Gordon is right here. Malcolm Gordon, most of his wins are by submission, on the ground by ground up on TKO or by submission. He's probably winning the fight to go to the ground, get a Kimura, get an armbar, get a triangle, something like that. Francisco is probably winning the fight to stay on the feet, and he has better wrestling than Malcolm Gordon in my opinion. So if the fight does go to the ground, I don't really see Malcolm Gordon getting on top, because he's not as good of a wrestler as Francisco Figueroa. So I think Francisco will get on top in the wrestling game, and do kind of what he did against Roma Rivera, kind of just staying on top, ground and pounding, not really looking for the submission, just looking to ground and pound and grind out the decision. That's probably what's going to happen if the fight does hit the ground, but there is always that threat of a submission from Malcolm Gordon, of course, by armbar, by triangle, or by Kimura, of course. But I just don't see a submission win for Malcolm Gordon right there. I do think the fight does go all the way. I think Francisco goes out there, keeps the fight very, very even on the feet. I think he's a little bit better than Malcolm Gordon in the striking game. And if the fight does stay in the feet, he should probably win the decision. Well, there's probably going to be some wrestling and grappling mixed in as well. So I think he's going to get a couple of takedowns here and there as well. And overall, that will help him win the fight by a decision. He has better wrestling, could control the fight on the ground. And on the feet, he's faster and more powerful. So he'll win the fight on the feet. So wherever the fight goes, in my opinion, I have Francisco Figuero winning the fight. So right here, my prediction is going to be Francisco Figuero winning the fight by a decision. The betting odds for the fight, minus 300 for Francisco Figuero. It's a little bit much. It's a little bit much in my opinion, because minus 300 right there, I'm much more confident in Phil Hawes beating Deron Winn than I am in Francisco Figuero beating Malcolm Gordon right there. I mean, I'm much more confident in a guy like Matthews Gamrot beating Jeremy Stevens than I am Malcolm Gordon, than I am Francisco Figueroa beating Malcolm Gordon. So there's a lot better fights on here that you could bet on than Francisco Figueroa at minus 300 that are much more likely to win their fights than Francisco winning against Malcolm Gordon right here. So I might just stay away from betting on this fight entirely. I do have Francisco winning the fight, but I probably have him minus 210, minus 220 on the betting odds. I don't think he should be a 3-1 favorite or even close to a 3.5 to 1 favorite. I think that's absolutely insane right there. So, in my opinion, I stay away from the odds, but I definitely do think that Francisco Figueroa will win the fight by a decision right there. Should be a really good fight in the flyweight division right there. Khalid Taha and Sergey Morozov in the bantamweight division. I'm going to say it right now, 50-50 fight in the bantamweight division. The betting odds are right now minus 160 for Khalid Taha and then plus 145 for Sergey Morozov right there. The overall odds are pretty big. They have Khalid Taha as a pretty big favorite in my opinion for a fight that I think is 50-50. Sergey Morozov is very good wrestling and devastating ground and pound as well. With 16 wins and 4 losses. You look way down here. 8 knockout wins, 3 submission wins, and 5 decision wins. Out of those 8 knockout wins, I believe only 1 or 2 are actual knockout wins on the feet. The other 6 or 7 knockout wins are on the ground from ground and pound after his takedown and just a lot of ground and pound, getting the finish on the ground right there. Most of his wins are on the ground, and that would be the main way he would win right here against Khalid Taha. I encourage all of you watching this video right now, look at the fight with Khalid Taha and then Bruno Silva. It was turned to a no contest, but in that fight, he did not show the best wrestling or grappling defense. He was taken down a lot in the second and third round. He looked really good in the first round. His striking looked very good in the first round. But in the second and third round, he got taken down a lot. And in this fight with Sergey Morozov, and Khalid Taha, I think Sergey Morozov will get a lot of takedowns in the second and third round. So Khalid Taha's takedown defense needs to improve to defend the takedowns. If he can defend those takedowns, I think he probably should win the fight. He's a lot more powerful. He's a lot faster of a striker, and he's going to have the reach advantage right there. Sergey Morozov in the striking game is mainly just a counter, likes to stay back. Hits you with a left hook, a straight right, a couple of leg kicks mixed in here and there as well. But he's mainly just keeping the fight on the feet to kind of keep it very even, and then get a takedown and a little bit of ground and pound to win the fight by decision. That's kind of what Sergey Morozov is going to try to do in the fight. But Khalid Taha having the reach advantage right there, having the power advantage, and having the speed advantage will definitely win the fight on the feet right here. It just matters, will Sergey Morozov get the takedown? That's what I'm thinking right here. Will Sergey Morozov end up getting the fight to the ground and get the submission, get the decision, or anything like that? I'm not too sure. That's why I think the fight is a lot closer than the betting odds do suggest. Because right now, I do think it's 50-50, because if Sergey can get the takedowns, he's going to win the fight. If Khalid Taha can defend the takedowns, he's going to win the fight. It's a very interesting fight right here in the bantamweight division. 52% going Taha and 48% going Morozov right there. My overall prediction is going to be Khalid Taha winning the fight by 29-28 decision, just because he has a lot more power than Sergey Morozov, and I do think that first round, he's going to put a lot on Sergey Morozov, and he does have some pretty solid cardio in the later rounds as well. So I think the first round will go Khalid Taha. The second round is where the fight kind of hangs in the balance. The third round will be Sergey Morozov with the wrestling and grappling. But that second round, in my opinion, is where Khalid Taha needs to go out there and go all out in the striking game. Defend the takedowns in that second round, and he will win the fight. He will win the first round, but will he win the second round? I do think so. So my prediction is Khalid Taha winning the first round in the striking game, and barely winning the second round in the striking game, losing the third round in the grappling game, in the wrestling game as well. And overall, my prediction will be Khalid Taha winning the fight in a close 29-28 decision. Would I bet on Khalid Taha? I really don't know. He has a lot of power in his hands with 13 wins and 3 losses. He could get a knockout, 8 knockout wins right there. He can definitely get a finish in the fight. That's why I probably wouldn't do any prop bets on Khalid Taha. Probably wouldn't do any prop bets on Sergey Morozov as well, because most of his wins as well are by finish. So I'd probably just do a straight bet on Sergey Morozov. This is one, it's kind of an underdog or pass in my opinion. If Khalid Taha's odds were sorry about that. If Khalid Taha's odds were around minus 135 or minus 140, maybe I'd do a bet on Khalid Taha, but right now, I think the odds are a little bit too spread out. If the odds do shimmer down a little bit to minus 135, minus 140, maybe I'll consider doing a small bet on Khalid Taha. But for now, it's an underdog or pass fight in my opinion. My overall prediction is going to be Khalid Taha by 29-28 decision right there. Should be an interesting fight in the bantamweight division right there. Mateusz Gamrot and Jeremy Stephens. If I'm saying Mateusz Gamrot's name correctly, I'm not really too sure. Just correct me in the comment section below. This is going to be a really, really good fight in the lightweight division. Jeremy Stephens is moving from the featherweight to the lightweight division, so maybe Mateusz Gamrot will be a bigger fighter than Jeremy Stephens, because he's moving up from featherweight to the lightweight division. Also, Mateusz Gamrot has very, very solid striking in my opinion. The height and the reach are very, very even right there. Mateusz Gamrot, very, very solid striking. We saw in the last fight with Scott Holtzman, he looked really, really good. A second round knockout win on Scott Holtzman. A lot of other knockout wins as well. 6 knockouts, 4 submission wins, and 8 decision wins right there. Personally, I do think he is an undefeated fighter. That fight with Guram Kutateladze, it was a close fight, but I probably have Mateusz Gamrot winning that fight by a decision. Don't know why the judges gave that fight to Gamrot right there, or to Kutateladze right there. I do think he should be 19-0 as an undefeated fighter, but things happen. The judges kind of mess up every now and then. But right here, Jeremy Stephens and Mateusz Gamrot. Jeremy Stephens, we saw the last fight with Calvin Kattar and Jeremy Stephens. He got TKO'd and got taken down by Calvin Kattar, who is a boxer. Mateusz Gamrot is not a boxer. He is a wrestler and a grappler. Usually looks to get the fight to the ground, wrestle and ground and pound, and look for the submission for 3 straight rounds, and win the fight by ground and pound TKO. Jeremy Stephens, I don't know if he's going to handle the wrestling and grappling and ground and pound of Mateusz Gamrot. It's just so good, but you never know with Jeremy Stephens. He does have a lot of power in his hands. 28 wins and 18 losses. You look way down here. 18 knockout wins. That's all I really have to say. He's got power. He can definitely land a really good shot and knock out Mateusz Gamrot. In the striking game, of course, but eventually Mateusz Gamrot will close the distance, get a single or double leg in the clinch, get the fight down on top of Jeremy Stephens, and ground and pound for the decision win or a ground and pound TKO. Not too sure which one of those two things is going to happen. My overall prediction is, of course, going to be Mateusz Gamrot. In my opinion, he's a future top 5, top 8 lightweight fighter in the world. Very good fighter, very good wrestling, and very fast, sharp, technical striking as well. I do have Mateusz Gamrot winning the fight by 30-27, 30-27, and 30-26 unanimous decision right there. Better wrestling, better grappling, in my opinion, better striking, just not the better power than Jeremy Stephens. That's the only way, in my opinion, Jeremy Stephens wins the fight. If the fight goes all the way, Mateusz Gamrot will win the fight. Jeremy Stephens needs to land another big right hand, another big uppercut like he's done many times in the past inside of the UFC. I just don't see that happening. Mateusz Gamrot is going to go out there, wrestle, grapple, and ground and pound for the win, in my opinion. So my prediction is going to be Mateusz Gamrot winning the fight by a unanimous decision right there. The betting odds are minus 240 for Mateusz Gamrot. they kind of went down a lot from where they were at minus 170. Minus 170, I definitely would have put a lot of money on my Two's camera at minus 170, but literally just minutes after minus 170, it went way down to minus 245 right there. So for this fight, if you're going to be betting on my Two's camera, I'd probably wait till he's around minus 210, maybe even minus 200 at double money odds. That's when I'd make a bet. Minus 240 just seems like a little bit too much. And if you're going to bet on Jeremy Stephens right here, it's very obvious. Bet Jeremy Stephens winning the fight by knockout. Of course, that's the main way he's going to win the fight. So right there, Jeremy Stephens by knockout as a prop bet once those odds do come out. And then Matthews Gamera winning the fight just straight up. Only if it's around minus 210 and below, minus 200. Anything around that range, I put a bet on Matthews Gamera. But right now, I'd probably stay away from this bet right there and wait for the better odds for Matthews Gamera, or wait for the prop bet on Jeremy Stephens by knockout. Should be a really, really good fight in the lightweight division right there. Again, Jeremy Stephens is moving up 10 pounds to the lightweight division. That could also play a factor. But overall, Matthews Gamera, in my opinion, will win the fight by unanimous decision right there. Should be a really, really good fight in the lightweight division right there. Rodolfo Vieira and Dustin Stoltzfus in the middleweight division. Dustin Stoltzfus, 13 wins and 2 losses, 29 and a half years old. Same height with a 2-inch reach advantage right there. Dustin probably wants his fight to stay in the feet. He does have 13 wins and 2 losses. Most of those wins are submission wins right here. 5 submissions, 5 decisions, and 2 knockout wins right there with a DQ as well. But he does have some really good grappling and wrestling skills. But does he want to use that grappling and wrestling against a guy like Rodolfo Vieira? I really do not think so. I really do not think so. In the grappling and wrestling game, Rodolfo Vieira will get the submission and will get the ground pound TKO, something like that, with 7 wins and 1 loss right there. 6 submission wins and 1 ground pound knockout win. So he definitely does not want the fight to hit the mat whatsoever. Dustin Stoltzfus needs the fight to stay on the feet, use that very small 2-inch reach advantage, keep the fight at range, defend the takedowns, and win the fight by a decision. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I mean, we saw the last fight with Kyle Dawkins. Kyle Dawkins dominated him in the grappling and wrestling game for 3 straight rounds with 30-27 and 30-26 decision. Kyle Dawkins is not as good of a wrestler or a grappler as Rodolfo Vieira, and if Kyle Dawkins can do it, I definitely do think Rodolfo Vieira can do the exact same thing. It's a very simple prediction. Of course, we saw the last fight with Anthony Hernandez and Rodolfo Vieira. Maybe Rodolfo Vieira loses his cardio in the 2nd and 3rd round, and Dustin Stoltzfus comes back in the 2nd and 3rd round with a knockout. It's possible, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Rodolfo Vieira will get the fight down and get a rear and naked choke submission win in the 1st or 2nd round right there. Should be a really, really good fight in the middleweight division right there. Marion Renault and Miesha Tate in the women's bantamweight division, the co-main event for UFC Fight Night Makhachev versus Moisés right here. They're both not really doing too good recently. Marion Renault on a 4-fight losing streak. She also is 44 years old, same height right there, and a little bit of a reach advantage for Marion Renault right there. Miesha Tate, a former UFC women's bantamweight champion, on a 2-fight losing streak to Amanda Nunes by submission and Raquel Pennington by unanimous decision. She's 34 or 35 years old. That's a humongous age advantage on Marion Renault right there. But she has not fought in 4.5 years. That's kind of what worries me for the fight. The betting odds are very, very 50-50. They do have Miesha Tate as a very slight favorite, mainly because of her wrestling and grappling skills. Sorry about that. 18 wins and 7 losses right there. She is a wrestler and a grappler mainly. 7 submission wins and 3 knockout wins, mainly by ground and pound knockout, with 8 decision wins, mainly just dominating the fight on the ground for 3 straight rounds for the decision win right there. But overall, this fight with Miesha Tate and Marion Renault, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. We don't know what Miesha Tate looks like. I mean, I've been scrolling through her Instagram feed. She looks pretty decent, but I don't know how her striking is going to fare. Marion Renault doesn't really have the best striking, of course, but we don't know. Sorry about that. We don't know if she's going to have the striking advantage right here, because Miesha Tate, she's been gone for 4.5 years. You never know how a woman is going to come back. I believe she was pregnant and had a baby in the last 4.5 years as well. We don't know how that's going to affect her as well. So there's a lot of factors heading into the fight with Marion Renault and Miesha Tate right here. It's the fight I'm probably just going to watch. I'm definitely not going to do any betting because you just have no idea what Miesha Tate's going to do. And we got a 44-year-old Marion Reneau who's fighting for her life right here. If she loses this fight, she's going to get cut from the UFC. And if she wins the fight, maybe she gets a couple more fights. And she's basically doing this just for a paycheck. She's not doing this to become a UFC champion or anything like that. She's doing this to provide for her family. And when you're 44 years old, and if you lose the fight, you're going to get cut from the UFC. You're going to go all out in the fight. You're going to go all out in the fight. Put everything you have against Miesha Tate right here. And who knows, it's going to make a lot of money, especially being a co-main event right here. She's going to put it all on the line against Miesha Tate. I just don't know. She's on a 4-fight losing streak, 44 years old. Miesha Tate has better wrestling and better grappling in my opinion. My instinct is to go Miesha Tate grappling and wrestling for the decision win, and a grinding, grappling, ground-pound wrestling decision win. But you never know with someone so hungry for a win out of 4 losses in a row and fighting for her life inside the UFC, 44 years old right there, and Marion Reneau. You just never know with a fighter that is on the brink of getting cut from the UFC. You just never know with a fighter like that. She's going to put it all on the line. So my prediction is going to be a Miesha Tate decision. There's not really much of me basing on my prediction just off of her wrestling and grappling 4.5 years ago. I have no idea what she's doing in the last 1-2 years. Marion Reneau, we saw what she has been doing in the last 4 years, and it hasn't really looked that pretty. So this is a fight I would not bet on the fight. I would just look at this fight and watch Miesha Tate's performance in this one to make a prediction and make a bet on the next fight after that. This is a fight to just look back and eat some popcorn on, just like the fight night picks guys say. Just sit back and eat some popcorn for this one because you never know what's going to happen with a 44-year-old fighting for her life and Miesha Tate, who has not fought in 4.5 years. So I don't really even want to make a prediction, but I'm going to go Miesha Tate just because of that wrestling and grappling. I think she's going to get the fight down, get 2 or 3 takedowns, maybe even 4 takedowns, and grapple and wrestle for 3 straight rounds for the decision winner right there. I'm not confident because I don't know what she's been doing in the last 4 years, but yeah, we'll see right there. Definitely not betting, and definitely not telling you guys to bet. That's for sure. Do not bet on this fight. There's much more better fights for you guys to bet on. This fight right here, Miesha Tate and Marion Reneau. I have no idea, man. I have no idea what Miesha Tate has been doing, and I don't know how hungry Marion Reneau is gonna be, being a 44-year-old. So it's a co-main event. It's a women's bantamweight division. I'm not going to bet. I'm not going to tell you guys to bet on the fight, but my prediction overall is going to be Miesha Tate winning the fight in a very close decision win in the wrestling and grappling game right there. Should be an interesting fight in the women's bantamweight division right there. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it should be a very interesting fight right there. Islam Makhachev and Thiago Moisés in the lightweight division, the main event. 5 straight rounds. That's what makes it very interesting. The first 5-round fight for Islam Makhachev right here. Now, will Islam Makhachev just make the fight go the full 5 rounds, or will he get the submission before then? This is a fight we all pretty much know that Islam Makhachev is probably going to win the fight. 19 wins and 1 loss. Amazing wrestling. Amazing grappling. 8 submission wins, 3 knockout wins, and 8 decision wins right there. Thiago Moisés got taken down twice by Bobby Green. Huh? Bobby Green took down Thiago Moisés twice. If Bobby Green can take down Thiago Moisés, of course Islam Makhachev can take down Thiago Moisés. It's a 5-round fight. Thiago needs to get a knockout in the first or second round. If that does not happen, he's not going to win the fight. So Islam Makhachev, in my opinion, the only way you're going to be doing bets on Islam Makhachev, because right now, minus 600, minus 550, it's very big. There's not really much value right there, so we're going to have to wait till the prop bets do come out. Make sure to come back on this video to check what the prop bets are, because I really don't know what they're going to be. The prop bets aren't out right now, but right now, the only bets I would make would be an Islam Makhachev decision win, or maybe an Islam Makhachev submission win, and do it by a round. I'd probably go second or third round, a submission win for Islam Makhachev. Otherwise, he's probably going to dominate the fight in the grappling and wrestling game to a decision. It's just a prop bet type of fight. You're not going to go a straight bet on Islam Makhachev right here, because the odds, minus 550, minus 600, they're just absolutely insane. There's not really much value you can get out of that. Of course, Islam is probably going to win the fight. That is very obvious. But there's not very much value in minus 550, minus 600. So, you're probably gonna have to come back onto this video and type in what the prop bets are for Islam Makhachev by decision and what the prop bets are for Islam Makhachev by submission. Because if Islam Makhachev by decision is minus 200 and below, I'm putting some money on that. I'm probably going to put some money on that. I expect it to probably be underdog odds because I think everyone is probably expecting Islam Makhachev to go out there and get a submission win. Maybe, but we'll have to wait till those prop bets do come out. My overall prediction is going to be Islam Makhachev winning the fight by a decision, but we just never do know. With Islam Makhachev, he can definitely get a submission right there. So, we just got to wait till the prop bets come out. I'm going to make a separate video once the prop bets do come out to make a bet on him by submission or him by decision, but we're going to have to wait till those prop bets do come out right there. Overall, my prediction, of course, is going to be Islam Makhachev wrestling and grappling for 5 straight rounds, 50-43. 50-43 and 50-43 on the judges' scorecards for the unanimous decision win right there. He's going to get 2 10-8s in my opinion. I think it's going to be an absolute domination. You never know with Thiago Moisés. He could keep the fight on the feet. He has very, very solid striking, as shown in the last fight with Anthony Hernandez, I believe. But watching the fight with Bobby Green getting taken down twice by Bobby Green, I'm sorry, guys. Thiago Moisés is going to get dominated right here. Easy prediction. Islam Makhachev winning that fight by unanimous decision right there. Should be a very, very good fight in the lightweight division right there. But yeah, guys, that is my full card prediction for UFC Fight Night Makhachev versus Moisés right there. 12 fights on the entire fight. The main event, I got Islam Makhachev winning that fight. The co-main event, I got Miesha Tate winning that fight right there. I got Rodolfo Vieira winning that fight right there. I got Matheus Gamrot winning that fight right there. I got Khalid Taha winning that fight right there, although I think that is a 50-50 fight. I got Francisco Figuero winning that fight right there. I got Miles Johns winning that fight right there. I got Amanda Lemos, of course, winning that fight right there. I got Phil Halls winning that fight right there. Rodolfo Vieira, Rodrigo Nascimento. I'm thinking up here with Rodolfo Vieira. Rodrigo Nascimento winning that fight right there, and then Daniel Rodriguez winning that fight right there, and then Gabriel Benitez winning that fight right there. You guys might be thinking, I think I do have all favorites on the fight card, but I think there's a couple of fights there's no way I'm betting on the favorite. That would be Miesha Tate. No way I'm betting on the favorite right there. Khalid Taha. No way I'm betting on the favorite right there. Francisco Figueiredo. No way I'm betting on the favorite right there. Amanda Lemos. I'm definitely not betting on the favorite right there. And then what was the last one? Gabriel Benitez. No way I'm betting on the favorite right there. The other fighters that they are fighting against, you might be able to put a small amount of money on the underdogs on those fights right there. Do I think those underdogs should win and they should be the favorites? No, I do not. But the odds that they have them at, I think are very, very solid. So Billy Corinthio odds, very, very solid. The Malcolm Gordon odds, I mean, he sucks, but his odds are very, very solid as well. The Sergey Morozov odds are very, very solid as well. And I just don't even want to bet on that one right there, to be honest. But overall, it should be a really, really good fight card for UFC Fight Night Makhachev versus Moisés. That is my full card prediction right there. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that. And we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.